hard to believe, but for over a quarter century now here in San Francisco, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and questioning youth have had a place to call home, a safe place called LYRIC. Tonight, very happy to have as our guest, Jodi Schwartz and Oscar Cortez from LYRIC. Welcome.
Thank you.
25 years.
It is indeed 25 years.
And 8 years with you at the helm. We were doing the math.
Yes.
Realized that you were here for your 20th anniversary 5 years ago, so welcome back.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, aren't you glad you own that little piece of property on Collingwood Street?
Oh boy, yes. It really has made a difference with this economy. I mean, so we've seen so many of our colleagues have to move to the East Bay or really have to reshape their organization. So we're very lucky. Our mortgage payment every month is $700.
Wow.
For a 3-story Victorian in the Castro.
You just made a lot of people in San Francisco very jealous, but it's for a good cause.
And we get to, what that means is we get to put most of the dollars that come into LYRIC into the programming for young people, which is the priority.
Now, Oscar, I understand that you're already a public policy advocacy guru. You testified at San Francisco City Hall, and you're not supposed to ask anyone their age, but I assume it's correct that you haven't been around quite as long as LYRIC has been around, correct?
That is correct.
So we'll ask you, as a young person in the LGBTQ community, what does LYRIC mean to you and to, people your age?
What LYRIC means to me, LYRIC would mean that it's a safe space for everyone, a space for opportunity, and a space for people to come together and build community.
Mm-hmm. When you were Oscar's age, did you ever think there would be someplace like LYRIC for LGBT youth? I mean, I'll speak for myself. The concept in Richmond, Virginia wasn't even on my plate to consider.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in upstate New York. I didn't even come out until I was well into my 20s, so I wasn't even in a place to even have that conversation with myself, much less be sitting in an organization with, the thousands. We serve over 1,000 young people through all of our direct services and outreach to 3,000 throughout the year. So to have that many young people who are kind of engaging in the community and building connection with their peers, it's just amazing.
Right. For those who may not be familiar with LYRIC or tuning in for the first time, tell us what LYRIC stands for and what its mission is and how you got here 25 years ago.
Sure. LYRIC stands for Lavender Youth Recreation and Information Center, and that's kind of reflects a little bit of kind of where we started, right? We started with a dance, and we started with counseling services, and we started with a talk line, which we don't have anymore. We transitioned that to another organization. And our mission is to build community and inspire social change with LGBTQ youth and allies. So it's, we really try to bring together both the idea of providing the support and the basic services to LGBTQ young people. And we also really prioritize engaging young people such as Oscar to be leaders in their own right in the community and to get engaged in social justice.
Right. When I came to San Francisco now almost 30 years ago, before there was a LYRIC, I was about your age. And I remember I came here because San Francisco was a safe space to be gay, certainly safer than the place where I grew up in the South. What is it like now as an LGBT youth in San Francisco? I think people my age like to think that all the problems have been solved and it's all warm and fuzzy. Is it always safe and friendly out there for queer youth?
I would say that a good amount of the time it's safe for youth, but not all queer youth, in my opinion. Yeah.
And what is it like being located in the Castro? I mean, people have said over the years, and this comes and goes, that the Castro is too white, too old, too male, too this. But I never hear of anyone ever saying it's too friendly to gay youth. I mean, is it a good space for gay youth?
When I'm walking down to LYRIC, I don't see a lot of youth, but I see some youth there. So it's all right.
Yeah. What are the challenges? I mean, how do you engage young people to come to LYRIC and convince them that in an age in social media, in an age when there's all kinds of representations of the LGBT community on TV, social media, I mean, in a way that it wasn't there when you and I were Oscar's age. How do you convince not only youth that LYRIC is important to them, but frankly, people who fund you and give money to keep you, have your doors open?
Working with young people, they're very straightforward in what works for them. So I always say that youth vote with their feet. So if you're doing good work, they will be at your doorstep. If you're not, then you need to change what you're doing. And really, I would say, while we do a lot of different kinds of outreach, including social media, really the primary way that young people connect to LYRIC is through their friends, which is how Oscar connected to LYRIC, is through somebody that he knew. Whether it's like, hey, you know, LYRIC is opening up jobs. We employ over 100 young people in different job training programs and getting engaged in social justice work. We have community building groups. So there's a lot of different ways and at different levels that young people can get involved. And because we hire young people, they bring their communities with them. So one of the, you know, we typically do around 2 dances a year. And it's just so wonderful to watch a group of interns whose job it is to put on this fabulous dance. We get 250 to 300 young people come to these dances, and they bring their friends and community. So we constantly have kind of a flow of new young people. And what I always try to remind adults is, for a young person, they're just coming out. They're just coming out to themselves, to their friends, to their family, and that's a whole new experience. And it could be that someone, you know, that our community has been coming out for a long time, but for an individual person, it's unique to them.
And it's different for every person and every time.
It is different for every person, from what community that you come with, what your family beliefs is. You know, there's a lot of different kind of cultures to navigate that
baggage comes in a lot of different sizes, and some of it has wheels and some of it doesn't.
That's right.
What was your coming out story like? And did LYRIC help with it?
LYRIC did not. I was actually fairly comfortable coming out because I grew up in a community where we all just kind of knew each other and we were all comfortable with each other. So coming out wasn't really a big thing. You know, I just never really mentioned it. I just, you know, I never really said anything. I was just myself.
Now, when you came to LYRIC, did you come because you felt you needed to access its services, or because you wanted to contribute and help in some way?
I came to LYRIC because a friend was working there at a time, and, you know, so I came, checked it out, and then one of the youth advocates that worked there said that I should apply to the next internship, and so I did.
And here you are.
Yeah.
Now, tell us about the Youth Advocate Program. What is that, and what does it do?
Well, do you want to talk a little bit, so how the youth advocates kind of work one-on-one?
Yeah, so the youth advocates work one-on-one with youth, either helping them fill out college applications, finding housing if they don't have a safe space to live in, find jobs, if I haven't said that already. What else? Legal name changes, getting documents, yeah.
And what have you learned at LYRIC that has surprised you?
That it's always changing.
So what do you mean?
LYRIC is always, you know, trying to do better than their last, you know, event. You know, they're always trying to find something that will help youth even more, open more doors for more youth, and just expanding its doors for everyone.
What has surprised you over the last few years watching the Castro change? I mean, it seems like every couple of years there's a story about the quote-unquote changing Castro. And it always seems like with every story, oh, this is changing, it's bad, this is going to be awful. But Castro seems to kind of change, but one of the constants has been LYRIC. I mean, I know in the almost 30 years I've lived here, 25 of it has been walking by that purple house. And even though I never went to LYRIC as a young person, I remember thinking, isn't it nice that our community has a place that acknowledges not just gay men and lesbians of a certain age, but young people?
Yes. I mean, I think it's really crucial that we're in the Castro. I mean, we do talk from time to time, are we really in the best place? I mean, most of our young people come from other neighborhoods. They don't live in the Castro. They predominantly live in the Bayview. They live in the Mission, which is where most of our young people in the city live, right? Those are the corridors where there's families left. And while that's changing in the Castro, the families that are in the Castro are much younger children. But to have this big lavender house in the middle of the Castro that says, we're creating a safe place for every young person who comes here, and we're part of the fabric. I mean, we're celebrating our 25th, and of course we've taken an opportunity to kind of reach out to the community and kind of reconnect. Are we working in partnership? And we've said, how can you be a champion for LYRIC? We've had a number of businesses we just had an open house, who stepped up to be sponsors, who stepped up to donate food for the event. We're asking different businesses to participate in a dine out for LGBT youth in the fall. So we're part of the community there, and it's just really wonderful for us to be seen as an important. Everybody wants us to be there. Most everyone wants us to be there.
Now, you said you were lucky. Your coming out experience was affirming, and you didn't have difficulty with it. But without divulging, personal stories, what has it been like with some of the other young people you've met through LYRIC? Maybe from some of the neighborhoods that Jodi was talking about, Bayview, Mission, some areas that aren't quote unquote traditionally gay-friendly, maybe, or as focused on the culture of the Castro. Do you ever hear some young people say, "Oh my God, this is a godsend"?
Yeah. A lot of the youth that come to LYRIC do come to LYRIC because they don't feel comfortable at home. They can't be themselves, and the only safe space that they have is LYRIC. So it's not easy for everyone.
All right. Now, you said the majority of your clients or people who access programming at LYRIC come from those two neighborhoods, or
literally we serve young people from every single zip code in the city. It's just that because most of our families live in the Excelsior and the Mission and Bayview, that's where we tend to draw, the predominant number of our young people. We also have a lot of young people whose addresses are the housing programs. LYRIC doesn't run housing programs, but a lot of the housing programs that are predominantly run by organizations such as Larkin Street Youth Services, for young people who are homeless, marginally housed in their shelters and their transition living programs, those are also the addresses. So like south of Market, the Tenderloin, which is where a lot of housing programs exist both for youth and adults, that's also a typical address.
Do you think that LYRIC is continuing to change hearts and minds of maybe some of the parents of these young people? I mean, have you had the experience of maybe someone coming from a part of San Francisco where their family would normally come to the Castro on a weekend?
Absolutely.
And they're like, wow, I came here because I can't talk to my parents, and then have the parents come to you and say, look what you've done for my kid.
Well, one of the things we did, we visited your show, it was our 20th, and right after that we took a hard look and said, what do we really, what's the strategic direction and vision for the organization? And one of the new things that we piloted right after our 20th was our school-based initiative. So now we actually do programming in the schools. So we're at 2 middle schools and 1 high school. And in that work in the schools, we not only work doing a class during the day, we also do teacher trainings, and we also do family work. So not just families of LGBT students, but just families to have a conversation about gender identity and sexual orientation, and what are these words, and what can I do as a parent, whether it's my own child or the friend that my child brings home. How do I answer questions about, like, well, this little boy in my class, when we play dress up, he likes to choose the princess dress. So, like, how do I be a good parent and affirm that that's great? Be it, boys in dresses, or, girls who never want to wear dresses, or whatever that development is, how can I be a good parent?
So be affirming for Lavender youth and their parents. We've just got a few seconds left. If you were talking directly to a young person out there who's watching this, who's thinking, LYRIC's not for me, or I'm scared, what advice would you give them?
I would say is try it on if it fits. So if it's something that you're not comfortable with, just come out, check it out, and if you don't like it, then you don't have to come back. It's up to you. Just try it on if it fits.
Well, congratulations on 25 years.
Thank you so much.
We'll see you for your 26th or 30th, whatever the next anniversary is. Hopefully we'll still be here too.
Thank you so much.
We've been speaking with Jodi and Oscar from LYRIC. Next up, we're going to learn about the vibrant Indian culture here in Northern California. Our conversation with Usha Srinivasan of Sangam Arts. We'll be right back.